Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I was reading recently a story about what most people would call a bad cruiser, a rude passenger. And I got a question for you because I know how I feel about it. I'm wondering, what do you think should happen to this passenger? So a while back, I had a video out, I think I was on one of my Alaska cruises, if I remember correctly, where I experienced somebody in the buffet literally reaching in and touching rolls of bread and got butter on their fingers and did like this, and then continued to touch more rolls and food in the buffet while I was standing there watching him do this. And I stopped him from doing what he was doing, and I called over one of the cooks and I told the cook what this guy did and said, remove every one of these buns and throw them in the garbage. They are completely contaminated. And basically it's called, every time I run into people now, they always have that same expression, don't touch my food. That's, I guess, what I've become known for in a lot of cases out there. And the pandemic hit. And then all of a sudden they're serving people the food and everything now, right? So a lot of places you don't have to worry about people touching food because it's only the staff doing it now, which I kind of like. Although I wish they would pile more food on than what they do because sometimes it's very skimpy. But let's talk about another area of the buffet that I have never heard of this happening before. I would never expect somebody to be angry about something like this. So you get your food and your plates and you go back to your table and you sit down and you begin eating and everything. And if you've ever been on a cruise, you know that as your plate gets empty, somebody will normally come by and take the plate away. So it clears up space on your table and it gives you more space if you decide to go get back more food because you're not going to use the same plate. Everyone gets a new plate when they go back. And it's just customary. You finish your glass of pop or water or orange juice and their coffees, they're going to take those away. And if you want more, they'll bring you more. That's what they're paid to do, to keep the area as clean as possible. Not only that, it's to pick up the dishes so they can get them into the dishwashers and cleaning back out into service so they don't run out of plates and dishes and forks and knives, etc. So they're out there doing their job. And apparently, on one cruise ship, the plate was basically empty, and the person was there talking, and a crew member came by and picked up the plate and put it on their tray and started to walk away. Well, apparently this infuriated one passenger so much that they dared touch their plate, that they stood up, turned the crew member around, and started berating that crew member in front of everybody in the buffet area, yelling at them, and so angry that they took the plate and smashed it on the ground to prove their point. Now, other passengers that were there witnessing this started yelling at the person who was doing it. Not the crew member, the person, calling them an idiot, calling them a entitled, etc., etc. Sit down or we'll sit you down. And it became a little bit of a thing. I have my feelings on this. First of all, you have no right whatsoever to belittle any employee. They're just doing their job. Even if they made a little mistake. Oops, I accidentally picked up your plate and you still had half your roll left on it. Oh my God, imagine you having to go get another roll all the way over 10 feet away in the buffet. Whew. Man, talk about an imposition to your life. Talk about a hardship. Talk about devastating your entire morale and reason for being. That you might have to get up and go get another roll because somebody took your plate. Oh my goodness. So you can kind of see where I'm coming from this. I think that person should have been locked back in their cabin, and I think they should have been kicked off the ship immediately at the next port, all at their own expense. You never have the right to belittle a crew member like that. It's one thing to be upset and to argue about something, say at customer service, sorry, this is wrong, you shouldn't have charged me for this, something like that, and be upset about it, but you still do it respectfully, right? You will always get away and get more resolved being respectful. The more you freak out, the less somebody wants to help you. Now, a lot of people think the more the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, not always. In fact, quite often the squeaky wheel gets replaced. So, yeah, I was reading this story and I can only feel for that crew member who was just cleaning a plate in the buffet, picking up a plate. You don't expect to suddenly be yelled at and have a plate taken off your tray and smashed on the ground in front of you. And I'm glad to hear that other passengers immediately went to the defense of the crew member, and he immediately went after this person and told them to sit down and shut up. And I would have done the exact same thing, because there is no, and I repeat, there is no reason, especially in something like this. If they came over and took your entire plate of food that you had just sat down, you might have a case. But quite literally, from all accounts, it was like a half-eaten roll left on a full plate of food that was all that was left. And this person freaked out to that extent and actually broke property of the cruise line. They smashed a dish on purpose. To me, I know a dish does, they buy these dishes by the gross. They probably cost like 5 cents a plate by the time they get them. But, yeah, I don't care. That person should never cruise with the cruise line again, and I'd be quite happy to never have to hear from this cruise person ever again. I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you think kicking them off the ship would be just a little too harsh? Maybe you're in favor of, okay, you calm them down, you set them down, maybe they're having a bad day, okay. First of all, I heard that they turned the crew member around, like grabbed them by the arm and turned them around. That's a no, you have no right to touch another person just doing their job and spinning them around threateningly at all. So that puts it over the top for me. For me, that puts it over the top where you have now laid your hand on another crew member. And obviously it wasn't, excuse me, sir, I would like to talk to you. It was, hey, like this, grab, hey. That is, to me, the same as committing violence, and they should have immediately been called security, and they should have been escorted back to their cabin. And guess what, guys? You're packing, and the next time we get to port, you're getting off the ship. Because what are they going to do? They're going to try and sue the cruise line? I don't think so. For what? Because you physically handled a crew member? So I put this out to you. There's some options. Should the person have been warned and let that bygones be bygones at that point? Should the person have been talked to and then banned from cruising after the cruise? Or should they have been immediately removed from the cruise? Because I know which one I vote for. I vote for immediate removal. Because the minute I heard you touched the person and you berated them in public, you lost all credibility with me, especially because they took away part of your role in the buffet. Wow. How small a person do you have to be? Well, I hope you appreciate this little video. That's my thoughts on touching food in the buffet and yelling at crew members. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. And don't touch my food or anybody else's food, and never ever touch a crew member.